Brodey Smith, senior at Allen Central High School.
I'm Julia Flannery.
I'm Austin Bradham.
I'm Ashley Salisbury.
I'm Kaitlyn Allen.
I'm Alan May.
And we're going to talk about bullying.
Hey Alan. What's up, Four Eyes? God, Ashley, you ate enough? You lard? God, you're such a nerd. God, you're such a nerd. Don't be a bad word. Hey, don't push me, bud. Don't push me.
That dude Austin's really mean. We should probably tell someone.
I think we should.
I've seen Julia getting bullied. It was pretty rough. You need to go tell the principal.
Let's go. All right, Mr. Francis, what do you think about bullying?
I think bullying is very, very bad for the child or whoever it may be. And I think it can affect an individual for the rest of their life. And the ones that bully other people don't realize how serious of a thing bullying is. It can cause someone to even take their life. You know, that's the most extreme part of bullying.
Okay. This year, the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Kentucky has changed the definition of bullying. It goes as follows. As used in this section, bullying means any unwanted verbal, physical, or social behavior among students that involves a real or perceived power imbalance and is repeated or has the potential to be repeated.
That occurs on school premises, on school-sponsored transportation, or at school-sponsored events, or that disrupts the education process. This definition shall not be interpreted to prohibit civil exchange of opinions or debate or cultural practices protected under the state or federal constitution where the opinion expressed is not otherwise materially or substantially disrupt the education process.
We are here with Sharon Collins from the Youth Service Center at Allen Central High School.
And we have some questions about bullying. So how do students report bullying?
Well, guys, there's several ways that students can report bullying. Probably the easiest thing to do is just talk to an adult in the school, an administrator, your teacher, or really even the lunchroom lady, the cafeteria, anybody, because by law we have to follow up on anything that you guys report to us. There are also some confidential ways to do that. You can go on the Floyd County Schools webpage and go under, there's a link on the home page that says Safety in Our Schools, and it's a safety tip line, and you can report something that you saw or something that happened to you personally. You do not have to put your name in, it's not required, but that will be all followed up in a timely manner because by law it has to be followed up by the administration or us here at school. It has to be investigated.
Okay, so how are bullying incidents followed up?
Okay, well, first of all, if, let's say, you've been bullied and your mom called someone in administration and said, you know, that so-and-so gets pushed, you know, well, first we've got to make sure it was bullying because not all instances are bullying. As you read in the definition, it has to be a repeated behavior. You have to feel like you were threatened. So if you're walking down the hall and you accidentally fall over Johnny's foot, but you know, it's not bullying, you know, that's just an accident. So, but you can still report these things. So they have to determine whether it technically is bullying. And if it is bullying, now I'm not an administrator, but, you know, I'm sure that Mr. Begley, Karen Drossett, Lisa Tackett have procedures that they go through. I know that several times they have to be reported to the superintendent, so they have a checklist that they have to go through, and it has to be done in a timely manner. It has to be investigated.
Are there resources available for students and their families?
Sure, there's a lot of resources out there. If you go, once again, on our district webpage, and you go to departments, and you go to school safety, she lists several different websites that you can go to. There are bullying prevention resources. There's pacer.org /bullying. There's Pacer Kids Against Bullying. And there's stopbullying.gov for kids. There's also the iSafe program. And another really good resource is go to the KCSS, which stands for the Kentucky Center for School Safety. they have all kinds of information on bullying, information for students and information for parents.
Okay, so what are we doing in our school to help prevent bullying?
Okay, well, I think one of the biggest things that we have been working on is just our school culture in itself, that it's just not acceptable to be a bully, because we want all kids to be, treated as, they all want to be treated. What's the golden rule kind of thing. And I think we also did the Green Dot. We started the Green Dot program, even though it's been a little bit slow due to turnover in the people that are doing it. But we wanted to point it out what is acceptable behavior. And I just think that we also, during a few of the AA classes, a few of those lessons have been on bullying. I think you all went over the definition of bullying at the beginning of the school year. And, we try to touch on bullying at least monthly. I know that we kind of tied the bullying with Red Ribbon Week this year. And so it was more of a anti-bullying, and anti-drug, because they're both bullying and Red Ribbon Week happen to be in the same month.
Now in this video segment, I like to talk about some of the statistics of bullying so you can get a more generalized idea of how serious this matter is. School-based bullying prevention programs decrease bullying by up to 25%. The reasons for being bullied reported most often by students were because of looks, which were 55%, body shape, which was 37%, and race, which was 16%, as we mentioned in the earlier part of the video. Students who experience bullying are at increased risk for poor school adjustment, sleep difficulties, anxiety, and depression. Students who engage in bullying behavior are at an increased risk for academic problems, substance use and/or abuse, and violent behavior later in adolescence and adulthood. Students who are both targets of bullying and engage in bullying behavior are at a greater risk for both mental health and behavior problems than students who are only bullied or are only bullied. Students who experience bullying are twice as likely as non-bullied peers to experience negative health effects such as headaches and stomach aches. Now on to another serious matter of cyberbullying. Most people doesn't consider this as serious as just in real life bullying, but it is. 19.6% of high school students in the U.S. report being bullied at school in the past year. 14.8% reported being bullied online. 90% of teens who report being cyberbullied have also been bullied offline. Only 10 U.S. studies have been conducted on the connection between bullying and developmental disabilities, but all of these studies found that children with disabilities were 2 or 3 times more likely to be bullied than their non-disabled peers. Researchers discovered that students with disabilities were more worried about school safety and being injured or harassed by other peers compared to students without a disability. The National Autistic Society reports that 40% of children with autism and 60% of children with Asperger's syndrome have experienced bullying in their lifetime. When reporting bullying, youth in special education were told not to tattle almost twice as often as youth in special education. More than 1/3 of adolescents reporting bullying report bias-based school bullying. Bias-based bullying is more strongly associated with compromised health than general bullying. Race-related bullying is significantly associated with negative emotional and physical health effects. 81.9% of students who identify as LGBTQ were bullied in the last year based on their sexual orientation. Peer victimization of all youth was less likely to occur when schools with bullying policies that are inclusive of LGBTQ students, which stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning. 63.5% of students feel unsafe because of their sexual orientation, and 43.9% of their gender expression. 31.8% of LGBTQ students missed at least one entire day of school in the past month because they felt unsafe or uncomfortable. 64% of students enrolled in the weight loss programs reported experiencing weight-based victimization. 1/3 of girls and 1/4 of boys report weight-based teasing from peers, but prevalence rates increased to approximately 60% among the heaviest students. 84% of students observed students perceived as overweight being called names or getting teased during physical activities.